Hello, this is Dr. Aparna from Anurag Group of Institutions, CVSR College of Engineering. All of us have felt happy in our lives. Sometimes we feel that it is an illusion. Happiness comes to us fleetingly. Sometimes it stays with us for a very long time. But can we be happy forever? Is it possible for us to be happy forever? You may tell me that I feel sad and give me many reasons why you feel sad. You may say, I feel sad because I haven't got good marks in my exams. Or I feel sad because I haven't got the dress that I really wanted to buy. Or you may feel sad that your friend has got a better dress. You may feel sad that you did not pass your exams well. Then you may give me reasons why you are happy. You may say, I was happy because I got a promotion. I was happy because I got a fantastic birthday gift. I was happy because my friend praised me. I was happy because I was able to buy the pen that I desperately wanted to buy. But buying material things does not really add to happiness, because once you buy that thing, happiness just goes away. It vanishes. As soon as we buy something that we desperately want, our happiness vanishes. So where does true happiness lie? Tell me, have you ever felt true happiness? True happiness lies in making others happy. True happiness lies in realizing that happiness lies within us. It is a state of our mind. It is there in our heart. True happiness lies when we reciprocate our parents' love. True happiness lies when we are happy with whatever we have. We are happy and we realize our potentials, and we realize that we are people who have come here to do something. True happiness lies when we have lots of friends around us who think good for us, who say that yes, we are wonderful people. True happiness lies when we are with our relatives and friends. True happiness lies when we try to be happy in every situation. We realize that nature is so beautiful. God has created nature so beautifully, and we stand there and pause and admire the beauty of nature around us. That is where true happiness lies. We all don't come into this world with anything. We leave this world without anything, is it not? So true happiness lies in the fact, in realizing that we come alone and we go back alone. The only thing that stays forever is perhaps our name. The only thing that stays forever is our goodness. People should remember us. People should love us. People should think of us that yes, here was a good human being. Your parents should be proud of you. Your friends should be proud of you. Your relatives should be so happy when you are around them. That is where true happiness lies. Make your life worthwhile and try to make others' lives worthwhile by being happy and keeping them happy. True happiness lies in that. The lesson that we are about to read is all about a man who found true happiness in the most difficult of situations and who let others live, and he lived the way he wanted. That is where true happiness lies. The lesson Happiest Man was written by David Daniel Kaminsky, also known as Danny Kaye. He was born in the year 1913. He was a comedian, he was an actor, he was a singer, and he entertained the world. He was popular for his comedies called the idiosyncratic pantomimes and the rapid fire nonsense songs. He also acted in 17 movies called The Kid from Brooklyn, then The Inspector General, Hans Christian Andersen, The Court Jester, and he also did movies for children like The Inchworm and The Ugly Duckling. He was the first ambassador at large of UNICEF and received the French Legion of Honor in the year 1986 for his many years of work with the organization. In his later years, Danny took to cooking. He converted his patio into a kitchen and installed a big stove there. He loved cooking Chinese, and which was a rage in the television series. Like many in the film business, Danny Kaye loved flying the aircraft. He also loved playing golf, but he bought himself an aircraft, and the year 1959 he started flying it by giving up golf. He became a popular person, but he died in the year 1987 due to a heart attack. The asteroid Kaye 6546 is named after him. Danny Kaye has 3 stars in the Hollywood Hall of Fame for his work and his contributions in radio, television, and films. The lesson Happiest Man is about Danny Kaye's father, Jacob Kominsky, who was a tailor and a very simple man, but he found happiness in life. He was a slight man with rounded shoulders because of the work that he did, and he had thin hair on his scalp. He was loved a lot by Danny. What made Jacob Kominsky the happiest man is what the entire lesson is about. He never earned any fame, he never earned any wealth, he never became popular in his life, yet Danny says his father was always happy. Being a tailor, a simple tailor who walked around the streets of Brooklyn with a lot of dignity and a lot of honor. Now let us study about him. One day, Jacob Kominsky's boss asked him to design a few clothes for the company. And Danny says that he remembered his father sitting through the night working on those designs. And sitting along with him was his mother, who was a tall woman, had lovely urban hair, always tied high up on the forehead. Jacob Kominsky loved his wife a lot and he really respected her. Once in a while, she would give him advice on the designs that he created. This work went on for quite a few weeks, and after the work was over, Jacob Kominsky handed the work to his boss. Nothing was spoken about it for many days, but Danny was curious. He wanted to know what was the outcome of this work. He one day asked his father, "You've been working for a long time on your designs. What happened to them?" The father just smiled and said, "Oh, my boss never liked my designs. But then, what difference does it make if I'm not a good designer? I'm a good tailor." That is where his happiness lay. He was confident that he was a good tailor and he was happy being a tailor. And he knew by making clothes for others, he was keeping others happy. Jacob Kominsky's happiness lay with his family. He loved his wife a lot, and that is a very rare thing. He used to tell all his relatives, wherever she goes, there is light. He loved his children. He loved his 3 boys. Every day at dinner table, he would tell them tales. Mundane activities would become funny, and he would express them in such a humorous way that there would be laughter in the house. Both the husband and wife loved the relatives, and they just needed a pretext to call all the relatives to their house to celebrate. There were a lot of jokes. They would laugh and dance. Danny says whenever there was a dance, his parents were the first couple to come up onto the dance floor, and they were the first couple to sing. So Jacob Kominsky's real happiness lay in simple things in life: dancing with his wife, singing with her, spending time with his children at the dinner table, and being happy with his relatives. Jacob Kominsky emigrated from Russia and came to America with many of his friends, especially 5 of them. They really did well in their lives. That is, materially. They earned a lot of money, they lived in big houses, they drove big cars, but every once a month, all those friends came to Jacob's house, they sat around his table and they took his advice. It was very surprising and strange for young Danny. He couldn't understand why did big cars come and park themselves outside his house, and why did rich people come in and take his father's advice. He once asked his mother, "Tell me, why do they all come to our house and take father's advice?" So she just smiled and told him that many years back they left something of theirs with them here in this house, and every month they came back to find that something. And that something was true happiness. Even though they had earned a lot of wealth, even though they had a lot of money, and even though they lived in big houses and came in big cars, they found true happiness by being together, by being with Jacob Kominsky, and enjoyed his company a lot, and hence they kept coming back. But sadly, tragedy befell the family when Danny lost his mother at the age of 13. But Jacob Kominsky, though he was very sad and very unhappy, he told his son that happiness cannot be kept with us forever. It is something that has to be won over and over again, every day. Every day is a gift, and every day one must learn to find happiness, because God has created such a wonderful place for everyone to live. Danny, at a very young age, wanted to explore the world. He did not know what he was doing was really right or wrong. But one fine day, with a friend of his, he ran away. He ran away from home to explore the world outside Brooklyn. And he wanted to see what lay outside the boundaries of Brooklyn. As I was telling, he left Brooklyn and finally reached Delaware. He went to the police station, and the police officer looked at him very suspiciously. He eventually called the Brooklyn police, and then they told him that there was a report for a missing boy. Immediately, the Delaware police called up Danny's father and told him that we have got your son. Would you like to talk to him? Danny's father just smiled and said, "No, I don't want to talk to my son. My son has gone out in search of something. Once he finds what that something is, he will eventually come back home. I'm not really worried about it." True happiness lies there, letting people live the way they want to. Danny's father was sure that Danny would find something for himself, and he did not get angry or upset when Danny ran away from home. He thought that his son was searching for something, and he was confident that he would come back once that search was over. And when Danny eventually did come back home, and he was very apprehensive, he was worried what his father would say to him. But then Jacob Kominsky just smiled at him, winked, and said, "Danny, your food is waiting for you in the ice box." Danny was quite surprised at his father's behavior. He was so happy that his father welcomed him with open arms. That is exactly what children need. They need a lot of understanding. They need a lot of love. They need a lot of space to grow and flower as individuals and as human beings. Many parents don't do that. They want their children to follow their footsteps. They want their children to realize the dreams that they had when they were young. When children are born, the parents already decide that their children will become either doctors or engineers or lawyers, but they don't realize that perhaps their child is a good painter, a sculptor, or a good writer, or anything. So Danny's father realized that Danny had something hidden, a talent that was there. He was infinitely patient with him, and he was not angry when Danny went out and he ran away in search for something. He understood that his son was exploring. In exploring the world outside, he was also exploring his own inner self. And that is what we must all realize, that our children need to explore themselves, and we must give them that much of space to understand what they like to do the most, so that they become happy citizens of the world and also of the entire universe. Danny's father, Jacob Kominsky, was an infinitely patient man. He loved his boys a lot. The best part was that Danny really never did much work because he did not find what he really wanted to do. Whereas his two elder brothers, they were very responsible, they had jobs, and they did regular work, and they earned good income. Many a times, Danny's friends would come over and they would question him, "What are you doing?" Sometimes Jacob's friends would come over and say, "What is your son doing?" Jacob would simply smile and say, "My son is searching for something which he really loves to do. And when he really finds that, I'm sure he will make a fine man and he will earn a lot. He will be very happy." What is important in life is not really earning a lot, but being happy doing what you really want to do. I'm sure that is something which many of us don't realize. For instance, there are many students nowadays who wish to study, who are very over-ambitious and wish to study a lot. Parents are very over-ambitious. They want their children to study a lot. I know that in my city, Hyderabad, especially in Andhra Pradesh, parents want their children to become engineers and doctors. They don't really understand the potential of their children. Their children may like to study languages. Their children may like to do journalism. Their children may like to do painting. They may be good sculptors. But parents think becoming engineers and doctors is the best thing for them. But Jacob Kominski was not like that. He wanted his son to do what he loved the most, and that is where real happiness lies. When you let others be, and when you let them do what they want to do, you make others happy, and you are also happy. When you do not force your opinions and your ideas on others, you make others happy. And that is exactly what Jacob Kominski was doing. He let his son be, and finally, he did find what he loved to do. Danny did find what he loved to do. He loved being in the entertainment business. He got a job with A.B. Marcus on a daily show called La Vive Paris, and he enjoyed that show a lot. In fact, he became very popular, and Jacob Kominski was very happy that his son had finally found true happiness in doing what he loved the most, and that is acting, and that is doing comedy, and that is making others laugh. He was proud that his son had found his footing. He was proud that his son had achieved something in life. And that is what we want. We want people to be happy. The day you realize that you are born on this earth because you have to make people happy, it will be the day when you feel very satisfied and very happy inside yourself. And that is exactly what Jacob Kominski did for his children. A few years later, Danny did not really like acting in A.B. Marcus anymore. Not that he did not enjoy acting, but then he wanted to do something different. He came back to his father Jacob and said that I want to do something different now. And it was the early years of 1920s when America was under the Great Depression. I'm sure you have all heard of the recession that hit the entire world a couple of years back. People lost their jobs. People were not given employment. They did not get proper salaries. There was a lot of unhappiness all over. The same kind of situation existed in the year 1920s. It is called as the age of Great Depression for America. At that time, Danny Kaye came to his father and said, "Father, I don't want to act in A.B. Marcus' La Vive Paris anymore. I want to do something different." Jacob Kominski, a tailor who had a regular job throughout his life, never left the job and did it for as many years as he could. He told his son that yes, you should go out and search, spread your wings and see where your true interests lie. And finally, that is exactly what Danny did. He left and he finally got a theatrical break in The Lady in the Dark with Gertrude Lawrence, and eventually from there he went on to Hollywood, where he became a famous actor and a famous comedian. People loved him. People enjoyed watching him on screen. People admired him a lot, and Jacob Kominski was so happy that his son was doing so fine. Danny says that his father lived with him from the time of his retirement till he died at the age of 80. One day he threw a big party in the house, and all big entertainers of Hollywood had come over to his house. And there this man, Jacob Kominski, started talking about his Brooklyn days, about his immigration. He started singing the songs of Ukraine. People were enraptured. They stood there listening to his songs, listening to his anecdotes. It was for 15 minutes that he spoke, and for 15 minutes people just heard him. And finally, once he stopped, there was a thunderous applause. Danny understood that this applause was not for the performance. It was not for the songs that the man had sung. The applause for the man, Jacob Kominski, who found true happiness in life. So what did we learn from this lesson? Happiness lies not in material things. Happiness lies in our heart. It lies in our mind. Happiness lies when we are with our loved ones. Happiness lies when we love our parents. Happiness lies when we are with our relatives, with our friends, with all the people who really take care of us. Happiness lies in really admiring the nature around us. Happiness lies in realizing our potential and realizing our drawbacks. And happiness lies in realizing that we can do only just this much. Jacob Kominski was happy throughout his life because he knew he had his own shortcomings. At the same time, he was aware that he was good at something else. He knew he was not a good designer, but he also knew that he was a very good tailor. He catered to so many people by making clothes for them. He felt truly happy when he was with his family. He loved his boys a lot. He let them grow. He let them be what they wanted to be. He was so patient with Danny. He gave him a lot of time to grow as an actor, as a comedian. He never asked his son to do what he wanted. He let his son do what he wanted. Jacob Kominski loved his wife, and that is where his true happiness was. But then he realized that life had to move on, and after her death, he says that happiness has to be won over and over again. Life is a mystery. Every day brings us something new, and every day we must search for happiness, and that is when we are truly happy. Happiness doesn't lie in buying material things. It does not lie in living in big houses. It does not lie in traveling in big cars. It definitely does not lie in buying jewelry worth lakhs or millions. Happiness lies when you feel everybody around you is happy. That is what the lesson teaches. That is what the lesson tries to tell us, that happiness is within us. We have to search for it, and we have to realize that by being good people, that being good to the others, by making others smile, by making others laugh, by loving others unconditionally is where we will really find true happiness. I'm sure you all have a lot of friends. I'm sure you may be finding a lot of flaws in your friends. Every human being is born with good as well as bad. We have a lot of flaws within us, but then learning to accept others with their flaws as well as their goodness is true happiness. We must realize that the other person is as human as you are, and when you are able to do that, you will find true happiness. Your parents love you unconditionally. They find true happiness in loving you. The same way, you should reciprocate their love, because your love too should be unconditional for them. That is where you will find true happiness. How many of you look around at the nature? How many of you go to the college and see how many trees are there in your college? Have you ever counted? Have you ever sat under the tree and realized, my God, the shade of this tree is so beautiful. How nice it is to sit under the tree in summer and read a book. Reading a book is happiness. Making friends is happiness. Enjoying nature is happiness. And that is true happiness. I hope you have enjoyed listening to this lesson as much as I have enjoyed teaching it to you.